Today I'm going to show you how to make these super adorable and abstract styled bunny blooms craft, and these are made from my paper flower pomander balls, and I was inspired by Photo Fab Flowers, who took my pomander kissing ball template and used it to make a little bunny head with ears, and I thought why not take it one step further and add a little body to it and a tail and some feet. So that's what I'm going to do here today, is I'm going to show you how to make these super cute craft for springtime, and I'm going to link the templates below for you in the video description, as well as my supplies that I use here in this video. So be sure to check that out below in the video description, and let's go ahead and get started with this cute craft. So to get started with this, we're going to need to make a bigger and a smaller pomander ball, one for the body and one for the head, and you can find both of those in the templates provided below this video in the description. And I'm just going to show you the head one here, the smaller one for the head. I'm using 6 petal cuts per flower, and we're going to make 2 flowers which we're going to glue back to back. So all I'm doing here is I am just curling each of these petals around a thin wood dowel to give it some dimension before I start layering the design together. After I get finished curling all of those petals around that dowel, I'm going to sort of spread out the petals a little bit of 2 of the pieces, just because I don't want it to be too tightly curled for the base pieces that we're working with here. I'm going to add just a little bit of glue, and I'm going to put it right into the center of one of those other petal layers. And as I layer these, try to get the pieces to alternate so that each petal point is alternating to the one below it. As you progress with building up this flower, you'll want to sort of close the petal points together so that they're progressively getting tighter towards the center, and it's creating that bloom effect. This is actually called my ruffle rose design, and several years ago I decided to put 2 of these together back to back, and you can create flower balls out of it, or what's also known as a pomander ball. And that's basically how I'm making this here, is by making these 2 flowers, and then we're going to glue them back to back. So as you work towards the center, you're going to of course want to make the petals tighter and tighter so that it has a closed bud center. You might need to tuck your petals like you just saw me do, and then twist them so they're nice and tight, and then gently sort of create some additional space for the remaining petals to go in. Like I said at the beginning, I use 6 petal layers per flower here, so each pomander ball is going to have 12 petal layers to it all in all. I have 4 added to my flower here, and now I'm going to add in the last 2. I'm just tucking all these petals one direction and gently kind of twisting the bottom so that it really holds its shape and the flower doesn't end up falling to where there's this unnecessary amount of space in the middle of the bud. I could actually stop right there because I did my petals quite tight, but I'm going to spread it out just a little bit and squeeze that last one in there so that it has lots of fluffy layers to the flower there. Alright, so I'm just going to add in this very last one to the center here. I'm twisting it quite tightly closed and then adding a little glue to the bottom and placing it right in the center. You might need to use that thin wood dowel to just slip it into the center there and try and make good contact with that glue into the center. So you're going to repeat that process again so that you have 2 blooms, and now we're going to glue these roses back to back, and we're going to create that flower ball, that pomander flower ball look. So I just added a little glue to the center of one, and I placed the other one on top of that glue. And when you're doing this, just try and pay attention to the seams and where it's coming together so that those pieces are kind of matching up and they're alternating, those petal points are alternating. And so I've repeated this again, except I've just created a larger pomander ball as well. And you're also going to need a couple of white pom-poms, and you'll also find in the templates some bunny feet and some bunny ears, and you can use accordingly to whatever you prefer there. So I have this really pretty flower ball here, but I need to sort of deconstruct the center a little bit, because we're going to be adding one pomander on top, and then we're also going to need to create sort of a more flat base on the bottom for it to sit upright on a table or something. So even though we just made that pretty center, I want you now to sort of deconstruct the center and create some space on each side of the larger pomander ball, not the smaller one, because that's going to be the head and we want that to stay nice and pretty just as it is. But for the larger one, I want you to sort of spread out those center petals and create some space. The next step here is going to be to take one of the pom-poms that you have. A white pom-pom is best if you're using white cardstock here like I am. And just add a generous amount of glue to the center, one of those sides of that larger pomander ball, and then stick that pom-pom right down in there. Just press it for a minute or two and it'll grab right on. We're going to use this as a means of connecting the smaller pomander, which is going to act as the bunny's head, to the center of the larger one. So right now, all you need to do is place a generous amount of glue on top of that pom-pom and then place the smaller pomander on it. Now, you're going to want to make sure you hold this in place till the glue is dry, because it's obviously not a totally flat surface with the pomander ball that we're doing. It can help to sort of gently twist it just a little bit so it kind of gets good contact with that glue like you saw me doing there, and just hold it in place. You want to make sure that your smallest pomander ball for the head is facing with the rosebud center out rather than up, so that it kind of looks like the little face of the bunny, like where the nose might go. So if you need to, you can stick your glue gun in there and kind of add any extra glue where you might need to reinforce it, but it should all in all stay put. It may not be like totally solid, but it won't go anywhere. Obviously this is one of those crafts that you handle with care regardless. So the next step here is going to be to actually add the bunny tail on with that extra pom-pom that we had there. So just add a little glue, pick a spot, whichever side you want to be the back side, and glue your bunny tail on. And this just helps define the back of our bunny and the front of our abstract flower bunny here. Go ahead and set that aside, and now we're going to do the bunny ears and the bunny feet. The feet are optional. Some people may not want them, but if you want your bunny to be a little more defined, the feet can be a good option to add on. I'm starting with my bunny ears here, and the templates come with 2 layers, an inner piece that you can do in pink and an outer piece that you can do in white or whatever color that you might be making your bunny to be. There is one template that has a bent bunny ear and one that has both of the ears straight, so you can mix and match and create some variation there. So I'm just adding these little pink pieces for the ears, layering those on top of the white pieces with my glue gun. And you can set those aside for a minute, and then these pieces here are how I add on some bunny feet. There could be lots of different ways to do this. This was just what came to mind. So I'm just folding the bunny feet over here to sort of create a little loop, and it just sort of looks like a little bunny paw that we're going to tuck in one of the flower petals here at the bottom to sort of add some definition to the bottom part of our bunny. It's going to look like some cute little bunny feet sticking out there. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those in there. Just look for anywhere on the bottom that kind of it fits naturally, and just add a little bit of glue, like a dot of glue to that tip, and then put it into the bottom of your flower there. Or I should say your bunny. Now I'm just going to glue the ears on. Just glue them relative to, of course, what is the front of your bunny and what is the back of your bunny. And I'm just sticking that in between, again, some of those petals there. You should easily find an area where it just naturally is able to sort of be a good spot to tuck the ear in. So just add a little dot of glue and then just tuck the ears in, one right next to each other. And that's the final step for creating these bunny blooms. It's an abstract sort of craft, but you can definitely tell that it is a cute little fluffy bunny. And I thought this was just a really fun idea, and I wanted to share how I put it together using my flower pomander balls. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. You can make these in different sizes if you're working with a cutting machine, and they're just a really fun spring craft to set out at Easter time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time.